Here's an example of how we can use checkboxes. I'm going to just create a quick app that's going to take our transformation parameters and like our A, H, and K for stretching, shrinking, whatever, and then horizontal and vertical shifts. And we'll just do some checkboxes so that we can graph a linear, a quadratic, or a cubic, depending on which one we want to take a look at. So the way that I go about it is I first of all will create the sliders or the checkboxes first. It really doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and do the checkboxes. So I'm going to grab the checkbox tool and I'll just put these down here maybe. And so the first checkbox is going to be our linear function. I'll just type linear and click apply for right now. Notice when you hover over, or actually in the algebra window, or if you're to hover over, the Boolean value that gets set, the true or false, has a variable to it. Alright? And then another checkbox for quadratic, and one more for cubic, say. Okay, so now we got our three different kind of functions that we want to show. If you wanted to do more, we would just have more check boxes. But each one of these booleans has a variable to it. And now let's create some sliders. So I'm going to grab the slider tool, and we'll make our A. I'm going to call this A. -5 to 5, jump by 1. So because I called that A, it's going to change the value of that first boolean as A sub 1. That's okay. Now we want another slider for, say, H. Maybe we'll just translate 5 units to the left and right and go up by a tenth. And then K, same deal. I'm going to call this K. And we're going to translate just 5 units. And we can always change those slider values. But for this example, that's not too important. So now we have our sliders here. So let's create, first of all, the linear function. So I'm going to first put in the input bar here. I'm just going to call this f of x. Is going to equal our parameters. We're going to take A times, in parentheses, x minus h, and then outside parentheses plus k. Okay, so there's our transforming the parent function y equals x, or f of x equals x, with our parameters. So when I hit enter, it'll graph that based off our parameters. Just to make sure we're right, I'm going to just move some things around. Okay, and all's good, right? So now what I want to do is I just want this graph and maybe also a point that I'll put on here. Maybe we want to show some input-output, relationships to our function. So I just grab my point tool, put a point on the curve, and now let's say I want to show the x and the y coordinate. So in my input bar, I'm going to create a line, x equals, and I'm just going to say the x coordinate of A, and hit enter. Maybe I'll make that dotted. And then I want to make the y coordinate, y equals the y coordinate of A. Make that dotted. So now at least we got some extra things. I just wanted some extra objects to show you how to tie them all to the checkbox. So now we have our linear thing, right? So I'm good with that. And as I move A around, we can see some certain things. But now, these are specific to the linear function, so I want to make sure that they hide and show with the linear checkbox. So this again is A sub 1. So what I'm going to do now is just, I'm going to click on my function. I'm going to hold Control down and also select my two other lines and my point A. Since I have all those selected, and let's say that I forget to do A, so I'm going to unselect that just for this example. But let's say that I think, okay, I got everything that I want selected that I want to relate to this Boolean value. So now I'm just going to right-click somewhere, go to Object Properties, and now we have an Advanced tab, and you can have this Advanced tab will be there for no matter what combination of objects we have. But when you click on Advanced, you get Condition to Show. This is where we're going to put in our Boolean value. So this is A. You have to go underscore 1 to do A sub 1. And that's all we got to do. So I'm going to hit enter and get out of here. So now we just tied those objects to this Boolean value. So when I uncheck it, And notice I left A. So I go, oh man, shoot, I left A there. So all I have to do is right click the object, go to its properties, go to advanced, and just connect it to A sub 1. And hit enter. And now it's gone too. So there's that, right? So now if we want to do, say, quadratic, it's the same thing. I'm going to say g of x, new function, is going to equal A times, parentheses, x minus h squared plus k. Now that'll graph our transform. Same deal. Let's say that we wanted a point and all that good stuff, but all we need to do now is notice the value of this checkbox. It's b. So now I'm just going to right click my function, go to advanced, make it condition to b. Okay, and then it would really, I'm not, for to save time, I guess, it would be the same thing here. If I want to do a cubic, I would make a new function, make it my transformed cubic function form based off my parameters, put anything extra that I want, but just make sure that I tie everything, the condition to show in the advanced tab, tied to, in this case, C. And then that's all that checkboxes do for us. So you can also have, as a checkbox is selected, we could maybe for example we wanted these sliders tied to only cubics, so you could also hide these with cubic and show them as well, and hide them in the other ones. But I hope that made some sense with the checkboxes. And